STM32CubeIDE can feel intimidating at first with all the buttons functionality, but in this video I'll walk you through it step by step, so by the end you'll feel comfortable and confident using it. So when STM32CubeIDE opens first, you get this page here, and over here on the left you will see Project Explorer. That's where our project files are. And if you click on this little down arrow button, you'll see all your projects. Perfect. And on this empty place here where our project files will appear, if we go and double click on them, for example this main function, and our code is all here as well. Perfect. So what we're going to do is first thing I want to explain to you is this hammer. Hammer is for building. So if you hit the hammer, the software is going to start building, compiling. It's going to compile our changes into an executable. You can also do exactly the same thing by coming here, clicking the right button of the mouse and come down here, build project. Oftentimes it's actually good to do a clean project. When you do a clean project, it basically cleans all the project from the compiled code, compiled object files, and you'll see it removed rm all these .o files, .o files, and some other bunch of extra files. And then you can either hit this hammer or come over here and do a build project. It will start building from the very beginning. But if you hit the hammer again, it will actually start building only the files that got changed. So if you want to do a kind of thorough examination of the compiled files, you want to do the clean and then build, and that way you are going to get all the warnings, all the imperfections, so compile will catch those. All right, next one is the debugger. And debugger is a helpful tool that helps us debug software. So what that means is we're slowing computer down to one set. Actually, we can even slow it down to one instruction at a time. That helps us to find out what our software does. So let's hit this debugger. All right, we have hit the main function. That's where our application starts. And you will see this little arrow here. And this part is kind of greenish color. All right, so that means that that is the line of code we're about to execute. So we're going to be executing this line of code next if I press either this one, step into, or step over. All right, so what are these buttons? So if I do step into, it will just jump to the next line of code. If I do step over, it will do pretty much the same. All right, why? Because this is a single line of code. There's really nothing to step into. There's nothing, no in here, right? So if we do step in, it's really not going to go anywhere. However, next line of code, GPIO init. And by the way, these are the functions and APIs that I have had lessons on, videos on, so you can go check them out on my channel if you want to learn what these do. So for this lesson, you really don't need to know this because we're not really talking about the functionality here. More, we're talking about the IDE and how IDE functions. So this is a basic function. You can just, you can just accept this as a basic function. All right, what will this do if I do step over? Let's do step over. It basically stepped over. It executed that function, but we weren't able to know what's happening in the function. So if we're interested to know what's inside the function, we can do step in, step into, and that will actually jump to that function inside that function. Now we're inside that function, and inside that function, we can step through all the lines of code and understand what each of them are doing. And you'll see as we are going through the code one line at a time, you'll see over here a tab called variables. All right, variables. And if you don't have that tab, you can come to Window, Show View, and then find variables tab. Click on that. It should pull this tab for you. And over here, you'll actually see all of our parameters. For example, port, then pin, mode, output type, output speed, pull up and down. All right, so those are all listed here. And these really help us to understand what are the parameters, what are the arguments are being passed into this function. So for example, value of pin is 5. How about mode? What's the value of mode? So value of mode, we have a macro here, obviously, but underneath the macro, we have hexadecimal number of 2. So this variables tab is really important. It helps us to know. It actually it shows all the local variables that are currently in that frame. All right. Now, if we're inside this function, what if we want to get out of the function? What if we went in halfway and then we want to get out of the function because we got what we wanted and learned what we wanted? Then what we can do is we can click the step return. And this will return back from that function. It will bring us back all the way to the main function or the calling function. So now what if what we want to really look at is located all the way down here. So let's say we want this line of code. We're only interested in this line of code, and our application is really long. We don't really want to go through, each of these lines one step at a time. So what we can do is use breakpoints. And breakpoints is very important. And basically, breakpoints is where we can let the program run, but it'll stop right at that breakpoint, so we can look at that line of code. And the way you do that, you come on the left side of this number for the code numbering, and then you come over here on the left side and you double click. And you'll see the little dot appear there. So that's a breakpoint. So to get there really fast, we can hit this play button, which is also resume button. And if we hit that, boom, we are right there, right at that code at that place we need to be. So we don't need to scroll through a bunch of code to get where we want to get. So breakpoints are really important, and you can put them pretty much anywhere you want and read any code you want. All right, so I can put another breakpoint right here. I'm going to hit the play button, and there we are right there. Perfect. So this is great. So now we can see all of our variables here on the right. So as we talked about, variables tab will display a lot of our variables. But what if we want to modify the variable on the fly? Or what if we want to change the value of the variable and kind of manipulate the variable, put the value that we want to see how our software behaves? And to do that, we have a window called expressions. Okay, expressions right here. Perfect. And in this expression, so let's see which one do we want to change. All right, how about this who am I variable? Let's add this to watch expression. Okay, so here's the who am I variable. Current value is this. All right, 234, which is also EA. We're actually change it to 0. All right, so we changed it to 0. We're trying to trigger an error condition because we're checking if who am I value is not equal to EA. So if it's not equal to EA, then we're in the error zone. So we're going to trigger an error condition. All right. And that brought us to error condition, and we logged an error, and we have connection error global variable, and we put 1 into it, and then we basically get stuck at the while loop. So from this point on, nothing will really happen because we're in the while loop. So that's what expressions window really helps you do. It can help you change the values on the fly to test your software. So let's restart this because we're stuck in the while loop. All right, we're back in main. So let's see where our breakpoints are. So another thing we can do with the expression is you can monitor global variables. For example, this connection error variable, which is right here, it's global variable, it's outside of main. So let's put that into watch expression. All right, so we're continually monitoring it. So right now it's 0. So let's just step in. We're gonna step into function. We step into this function here. As you can see, even though we're inside a function, we're still able to watch that global variable. So that helps us to watch our global variables to see if their values are changing. And if you go to variables tab, obviously you'll have all your local variables, but with expressions, we can monitor and even modify global variables. And if you want to know where all of your breakpoints are, you can go to show view and find breakpoints. Let's see, right here. And the tab will appear that will show you where your breakpoints are in a given program. Now, next one we're going to look at is registers or general registers. And you can find this the exact same way we found others through Window tab. And general registers are really registers that are native to the ARM processor. And these are the registers that hold values and modify values and help out with the arithmetic. They hold the values, they modify them, and they pass them on to different things like registers. If you want to monitor the values that the processor is handling, this is the good place. This is a good place to come to read, especially when you're doing with the registers that are native to the processor, to the ARM processor. For example, if you're setting a real-time operating system and an RTOS, you may want to look into some of these general purpose registers. Now, next tab I'm going to show you is called Disassembly. And disassembly is really cool. At this point, we are basically going into assembly language. So for example, you can see we're at line 67. At that line 67 is right here. But underneath, you'll see all the assembly code, ARM assembly language that this line of code is composed of. So all this assembly code is really exactly what this line does under the hood. So we have a C code and then assembly representation of it. Now, why is this important? Now, as you talked about, we have the general purpose registers that hold various data and do operations. Now, if you look at assembly code, you'll see that assembly actually uses those registers to hold and manipulate data. So if your line of code is misbehaving, you can pretty much come over here and look at the disassembly and go through it line by line and try to understand where the bug is in that particular line of code. You're kind of expanding that code and look deeper into that line of code. And oftentimes you can detect the bugs right there. And now if you want to step through the assembly code, you need to click this I instruction setting mode. And once you do that, you can do step into, and you'll see now we're going through the assembly code. You'll see we're still stayed on the same line of 67, but we're actually walking down the assembly line. And each time we do that, our general purpose registers will be changing because they are the ones that are manipulating the data. And the new change is kind of described at this STM32CubeIDE as this yellow highlights. Now this is really great. You can discover a lot of bugs this way. Alright, the next one I want to show you, and this will be probably our final one, is the memory. Memory is very important, especially when you are worried or when you're concerned that your variables are not getting stored the proper way in the memory, in the RAM or even ROM or even flash memory in the chip. So you want to make sure that your variables are stored, your data is stored accordingly. So to do that, you can come here to the memory tab and add a memory monitor. So let's just monitor memory address of this chip starting from 2 and then all zeros. And I believe this is where actually the RAM starts, or close to it. So when you do that, you'll see there's just bunch of data here in the memory. All these numbers, obviously we don't know what they are, but you can look up some of the addresses, for example, structures addresses or function addresses, and then you will come over here and you can decipher that particular value. So memory comes in handy when debugging and trying to understand how your variables or structures are stored in the memory. Now, these are the main core functionalities you use most of the time as an embedded software engineer. There are some other ones that I encourage you just to walk through and explore, but most of the time, these are the ones that you will be using when debugging software. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope this was helpful and useful to you. And if it was, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.